Hey folks, it's Jim and Julie. It's the final week of Alternative October, although it's actually November now. So where's all your candy?
Eaten.
Mine too. Alright, so if you haven't heard the gigantic news of this past week,
then you've been living under a rock.
Hey,
candy from above! Yes!
I'll trade you.
Done.
Done. Alright, so if you haven't heard the big news from this week, honestly, you have been living under a rock. Disney...
Or possibly they've been living on Hoth.
Well, I don't know about that. They've probably frozen to death or be really going crazy eating nothing but tauntaun meat. But anyway, the big news is Disney has bought Lucasfilm, which means they now own Star Wars and Indiana Jones and ILM and various pretty much everything in that entire empire.
See, I don't have a problem with this because I know that Joss Whedon is still on contract with Disney.
Yep.
Through Marvel until 2015.
Which he's doing Avengers 2.
Yes.
But that does not mean he's not free to write Star Wars. Now...
I can only hope.
Now, here's my big thing that I would probably love to see. You know me, I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I would love to see Joss Whedon write it. But I think I would even more love to see Brad Bird direct it.
I'm not sure that I'm familiar with him as a director.
He did the 4th Mission Impossible and also did The Incredibles.
The Incredibles was good. I was not very fond of the 4th Mission Impossible.
Okay.
So that doesn't really matter to me. I have a longer list of directors I would rather not see.
Alright, well, who would you not want to see then?
M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah, that's a big one.
I don't think that he would fit the Star Wars sort of feel.
Yeah.
However, I do think that there are a number of directors out there that we don't even know of who could do a very, very good job.
I agree. Now, who would you like to see direct a Star Wars film?
I don't know. It's hard to say. I don't pay a lot of attention necessarily to directors. I know that I would rather not see, you know, M. Night Shyamalan or Spielberg or any other number of directors. But as for directors that I would like to see, I know that I would love to see a post-Empire Han and Leia's kids, Luke setting up the Jedi school story. That would make me very happy.
I think they need to set it at least maybe 100 years after.
Oh, no. But
I think more or less, I think they're getting a bit too old to do what they did. And having seen Mark Hamill in person, he'll need to lose a lot of weight before he puts on another Jedi outfit.
You know,
no offense there, Mark.
I'm completely willing to have different actors.
Okay.
Like, Nathan Fillion playing Han Solo would be so fantastic.
Yeah, that could work, yeah.
It would be great.
But anyway, so let's get out of this big news thing.
Because I could go on about it all day.
Yeah, I know you could. I've seen you in your Star Wars outfits. It's disturbing. So let's get to some comic book reviews, shall we? And I'll start off with Rachel Rising number 12. And in this one, Malice, now inhabiting Jet's body, confronts Zoe to find out Lilith's plans. Well, Rachel digs her way out of the ground, yet again, and...
to be rising up?
She did it again, yeah. And now she knows what Lilith's plans for Manson County are.
Dun dun dun.
Pretty much, yeah.
Alright.
So this series, as it's going on, is getting darker and darker and darker. And I love it to death. Such great storytelling here, great art by Terry Moore. You can't go wrong with this book, really, on any level. It's just that good. If you like really good stories with a very dark sensibility, you're going to really enjoy this one. I know I do.
Alright, my first book for the week was
Brandon Graham.
Yep, Brandon Graham's Multiple Warheads, printed through Image. In this book, Sex and Nick's building had a spaceship fall on it and destroy not only their building, but their entire neighborhood. And then they went on a mission to find the Impossible City.
I hate grape.
This book was very confusing for me.
It's a Brandon Graham book. You have to have a certain kind of taste or sensibility to really get into it.
But, again, there was a lot of stuff that was set up, and I can't stand these books where you have to have read such and such other series or have followed their work online to understand what the writer's talking about.
Mm-hmm.
That said, I was able to get past the art. I was able to get past the somewhat explicit content at parts.
Yep.
And find a redeeming quality. This book is super punny. It's full of puns on every single page.
Yep.
It was the only redeeming quality for me. So
he's well known for doing his pun stuff.
If you like puns or things that are sort of wacky and weird,
and a bit adult,
give it a chance.
Alright, so next up we have Airboy number 4. And in this one, Airboy and Hero must battle an enormous skyscraper-sized robot to save all of Japan from the maniacal Goro. So yeah, we have skyscraper-sized robots in the 1940s. Makes sense.
Perfectly logical.
Yes.
I have a feeling that it's somewhat Jetsons-like.
No, not really.
Okay.
But it's more of an altered history type, war type thing. But still a lot of fun. If you're a fan of the original Airboy from way back in the 40s all the way till the 90s, then yeah, this is for you. This is a really good new evolution of the character and a lot of fun to read. And of course, Ben's art really makes it pop off the page. So I quite enjoy it. If you want to check out a new good Airboy series, check this one out. I quite enjoy it.
Book 2 for me this week is Bedlam. It's a very dark cover, so hopefully you're getting a good shot of it. Interesting book, and it's exceptionally dark, and again, kind of twisted. So another one of those books where I struggled with it just because it's so roundabout. Yeah. You've got sections that are in black and white with the only color being red, which appear to be flashbacks, and then you've got present day in full color. I wasn't very fond of the art style. However, the story is very interesting. You have a serial murderer known as Murder Red, who has committed some very, very heinous acts upon the city of Bedlam. And he's, you know, it's extraordinarily explicit, and I really don't want to get into it, but it's dark and evil, and you kind of wonder to yourself a little bit if he isn't a little right in some of the messages that he's giving.
Yeah.
However, big warning, it is quite explicit in art and in storyline and content. This is a very dark book.
And we have one major problem with this image. Where's the warning on the front cover?
Yes.
Why is it on the back?
In teeny tiny little writing where nobody's really going to look. I'd like to see a contrasting color on the cover with a mature warning.
It's not that hard to do. All you really have to do is put a little M or something under your logo.
Something. But I'd love to see something giving us a bit of warning. However, that said, it's a good book if you like things dark.
And there's some really nice, really good dark stories out there right now. But honestly, they do need mature reader labels and whatnot clearer on the cover so kids don't pick this stuff up.
I completely agree. There are some publishers who are fantastic about it.
Yep.
Others, like both of my books this week, or 2 out of my 3 books this week, had mature content that I had to go looking for the warning. I'd like to see a little bit more notice from some of the independent publishers.
That would be good, but depends on if they're going to listen. Alright, so next up we have The Legend of Oz, Wicked West, Volume 2, Number 1. Alright, so in this one, Dorothy is missing, and Scarecrow, Lion, and Tin Man remain imprisoned by the Witch of the West and General Ginger. But the Scarecrow has a plan to escape with the Mice of Oz's help. Alright,
Cool.
so this is a continuation of the last Wicked West miniseries, which now continues into this ongoing series, in which at the last we saw them, they were all captured and Dorothy had gone missing. Right now, Scarecrow is in jail, imprisoned by General Ginger, gets saved by the mice and Tip. So I've really been enjoying this. This is a bit more dark sensibility to Oz, but it's not really dark, like there's no murder, blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff, but it is quite fun.
It's just not what you might expect if you've watched The Wizard of Oz and are picking this up.
Yeah.
They're a little different.
Yeah, it's very much different. It's got characters with darker sensibilities. It's much more interesting character development as well, because they're not your standard versions of Oz. So they've completely changed, and that makes the characters more interesting, at least to me. So I have a lot of fun with this series. I've been reading it since the start, and I've always really enjoyed it. So if you do like Oz, like I do, and you want to check out something that's really fun and really different, check this one out. I quite enjoy it.
Fantastic. Book 3, and my last book this week, is Star Wars Agent of the Empire Hard Targets. It's a mouthful, but totally worth it. This one starts off with Agent Janna Cross, an old friend of the new Viceroy Bail Organa, returning to Alderaan on a mission from the Empire to assassinate somebody. And you don't find out until a while in, but he's definitely on a mission.
Yep.
Bail Organa is meeting up with a longtime friend of his, Count Aiden Dooku, who is not the Count Dooku that you were thinking of, Jim.
No, but if he's related,
he is the nephew of.
Okay, so then he's still probably not trustworthy.
It's hard to say. But when Count Dooku is assassinated during his meeting with Bail Organa, as Bail is trying to convince him to form a rebel alliance, it leads to some questions for Agent Cross about his loyalties and where they should be lying. And I really enjoyed this book. This is actually, for as much of a Star Wars geek as I am, this was my first exposure to a Star Wars comic, and definitely not my last.
And considering what happened with Disney buying Lucasfilm, what will happen with the Star Wars license?
That's a very big question.
Now, Mike Richardson, who owns Dark Horse, has said that they're fine. The comics will continue for the foreseeable future.
I know that there's an ongoing starting up in January.
Yeah. So the question really does remain.
Will it go back to Marvel, or will it stay with Dark Horse
for the foreseeable future? Me personally, I think Lucasfilm will probably be independent of Disney, just as Marvel is independent of Disney. So I think the thing is that Dark Horse will still be doing at least until
comics.
2014. At least until 2014.
Do we know that that's when their license
Don't know.
runs out?
But that's an easy enough thing to find out.
I could see Disney trying to buy the license and switch it over to Marvel.
Could happen.
So that they can do a lot of comics leading up to the movie.
Yeah.
And a lot of promotional things leading up to the movie. But that's, again, I think I'm with you that you're safe with Dark Horse and Star Wars until probably 2013, 2014.
That's my guess anyway.
But this was a very good book. It's number 1 out of 5. Good mini-series. Pick it up. I really, really enjoyed it.
Alright, and last book of the week is Godzilla, the Half-Century War, number 3. And in this one, in Ghana in 1975, Oda and the AMF team must stop the mad Dr. Deverich, who has turned in on the psionic transmitter, which has attracted all the giant monsters to Ghana. The question is, will the team make it out of Ghana alive?
Yes.
No.
Spoilers!
Spoilers. Not all the team makes it out of Ghana alive.
Oh no!
So, yeah, this, as you guys have heard me rant about this book before, this is the best Godzilla book that has probably ever been released. Just
wow.
The sheer beauty of it, the great writing, the characters, it just really works on so many levels, and it's just a heck of a lot of fun.
Fantastic.
And that's always a great thing with a good comic, and that's exactly what a Godzilla story needs to be.
Right.
You need to have your action, your giant monsters, and good characters that you can relate to.
Yes.
Which this has in spades, and that's fantastic.
But?
Nothing. No buts.
Okay.
It's actually a lot of fun, and I cannot wait to see the actual finale. I'm hoping they don't change it, because I remember reading it when it was originally online. So they have changed a few things.
Right.
But overall, it's the same great story, and I've really enjoyed it.
Fantastic.
So if you're a Godzilla fan, this is the best book on the shelf today in the Godzilla franchise. So check it out before the new Godzilla film in 2014. Alright, so that brings us to the close of another episode of Geeking Out. We will see you next week. Don't get too filled up on candy.
No sugar highs.
See you later.